Good evening and welcome to Getty's Live Talk. I am your host Zainab Malai. I am a Getty trainer. Global Education and Training Institute is one of the most premium training institute of the country. We provide two types of trainings. One for the teachers who are already in service, e-service training, uh, uh, in service training, and one for the for the people who aspire to become outstanding teachers. This training is named as pre-service training. And we have this forum with the name of hashtag Disruptive Education Detox by Getty. And we have been hosting talks on this platform since last 1.5 year, and we have hosted more than 1,000 talks. We are driven by the broad vision of our founder director, Dr. Sunita Gandhi, and he has started these talks with the aim to disrupt education and provide platform to the educators, educational leaders, and edupreneurs around the world to come to our platform and discuss their innovative ideas. So today we are very pleased to have amongst us Professor D. Manibharathi. He completed his post-graduation in AMI Applied Electronics from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, and he served as assistant professor at CIT Coimbatore from 2010 to 2017. Currently, he is pursuing his research in image processing domain under Anna University, Chennai. He has cleared GATE exam 7 times with the highest of all India rank of 2367 in the electronics and communication paper. He is an expert GATE trainer for the subjects like circuit analysis, analog and digital electronics, signals and system control system. So he also has his own YouTube channel. He has published research work in two national conferences and one national journal. He has published a patent titled Automatic Blood Gases Control in Perfusion System for ECOM support and CPB surgery conditions in the year 2021. So without much ado, I would like to welcome you, sir, and I would like to introduce your topic. So today, Mr. Manibharathi shall be speaking on the topic scope of blended learning in higher education. We are very pleased to have you, sir, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much for your wonderful introduction. Okay, is my slides visible? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir, your
Yes.
slides are
Yeah,
visible.
yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am, for this wonderful introduction. Myself, D. Manibharathi, presently working as assistant professor in the Department of ECE, Government College of Engineering, Salem, Tamil Nadu. Here, I want to discuss few things regarding the blended learning, particularly in higher education. That's the topic of discussion today. And this is my brief profile. Okay, let's just straight away move into the topic. So we will be seeing that when the pandemic struck all over the world, we are new to the online learning. That's what happened for the past 2 years. We'll start from the kindergarten to the higher education. People went through online learning, particularly in India. It's very new to Indian point of view. But the conventional classroom learning, which was existing for hundreds of years, where the teacher teaches, students listen, that's an online classroom. But if you take once the pandemic is over, the students are returning to the campus or schools, we can see the students are facing difficulty in classroom education because they are accustomed to online learning. So the best way to go forward is the blended learning. So blended learning is nothing but the intersection. There's a common point between the classroom learning and the online learning. So we will be taking the merits of both the systems for the betterment of the student community. That's the term blended learning. It is sure that blended learning is the way to go forward from the teaching learning perspective, because we can see the technological advancement. The students nowadays, I mean, we can see a student without a book. but we cannot see a student without a mobile phone or a smartphone. That's much it is becoming a part of life. So that with the technology, if the education is moving forward, that would be the right way to go. So we will see what is a blended learning. It's very simple that it's an art of combining the digital learning tools with more traditional classroom face to face. There comes the term blended learning. If you take um, the, the classroom teaching is mostly face to face, and the blended learning or online teaching, we have a computer mediated activities. Using this, we will be delivering the lectures. And if you take a true blended learning, we would have these both the students and teachers should be physically located in the same space. That it should be. But the student should have the access to the digital tools. And the teacher should also have the access to the digital tools, other than the chalk and talk method, which is conventionally followed. We can see the role of teacher in blended learning environment. We know the role of teacher is going to be shifted from teaching to a role of a coach or a mentor. This is advisable particularly for a student's adult student. Maybe they're pursuing their higher education, their basic skills up to school education would be there. And a teacher, instead of teaching, that if the teaching role is shifted to like a coach or a mentor, it would like they are becoming a facilitator. In that case we can get the best out of the student. And the one thing, the counterpoint people say about the blended learning is the teacher becomes more passive. They cannot contribute more to the students. It's not actually so. Even in blended learning, if properly implemented, a faculty or a teacher can have a strong influence on the student and have a major impact on the student learning. And it's actually a balance line should be struck between the online instructions as well as the teacher led instruction. Of course, both the methods has its own merits and demerits, right? If you take the online instructions, you can say it is a tech based learning. It is individualized. We can have the pace the course. We can have a lecture content recorded for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Very small modules can be made such that the students can just while walking he can watch the content. And the students are continuously engaged. That's the important point. If you take the students online learning, they can learn at any time, anywhere. But once you come to the teacher led instruction, there comes the human element, right, which the computer would be missing. Right, if a teacher is there, the teacher can encourage a student. They would have the compassion, caring, love. They can guide the student. These things together, along with the online instructions, if they are appropriately, we are balancing these two, then it would become the best method of teaching. That's a blended mode of teaching. It's not saying that this is the best and this is the worst. Each method has its own advantages and disadvantages. So we are just deriving the best out of each method and we are going to blend the same. This is the right time to go for the blended mode of teaching because the, now we can see the students in passing their second year or third year, most of their past 2 years they would be went through online course. Once they come to the campus, returning back to the campus, so straight away putting back to the classroom teaching, listening to the lecture for 45 minutes, it would make their life very difficult. Okay, and moreover, the teacher would have understood that. Personally, I can speak from my point of view. Taking a class, we have given a 45 hours per semester to cover a subject. I can surely say by online class, what has happened is I can cover the content in just a 20-hour video module. So what I'm doing with the rest of the 25 hours, there comes the big question. I can engage the students, like discussions and other things. I can motivate them. I can give some very strong questions, very good assignments. I can engage them to learn. So that's the basic point of view of this discussion, right? So instead of saying that again I'm going to teach 45 hours using chalk and talk method, And think through faculty. No, see, the materials are available in the internet, so many diagrams, intricate diagrams. Instead of drawing in the board, it takes many hours, right? So the best way to go is provide the content beforehand to the student, let them come and study. Once they know about the basics, let us have the discussion in the class. Okay, there are so many methods. We'll be seeing those things in the coming slides. And we can see the role of the learners in blended learning environment. We can clearly see it increases the student interest, because the students are given the full freedom. They are given access to the mobile phone. They are they will they will sit in a cheerful environment rather than monotonous listening to the one way of teaching. One way, the teacher says, student listen. That's not the way to go. The students in blended learning will have the best way to learn, because then they have the better lectures. Maybe the contents you can take from the YouTubes. So many simulations are there. Okay, so many real-time examples are there. Students can see see these lectures in the classroom itself, and they can work out the problems given by the faculties. And in case of doubts, they can have discussion along with the faculty or students among themselves. So generally student will get interest. Once the freedom is given, they will get interest. If they are sitting, if a passive listener, boredom will struck them. They will get they won't get interest in the subject. Then the second point, you can see that they can focus for a longer period, right? Instead of just listening, keep on listening will makes the people very dull, right? If they're interacting, it's a two-way communication and different modes of communication, interactive, technically interactive lectures. Those things will be helpful. And it gives the student autonomy, right? They have their own freedom. They can read from any of the content, any videos available to them. And they it will install a disposition of advocacy. And we can see the student will have their own ownership. What are the contents, to what they are going to learn? They have their own ownership. Once they see, that's there comes a responsibility. When the student is responsible, automatically the subject, he will love learning the subject. Okay, he cannot say, because of this person I'm studying this. There is no blaming. Just you are responsible. You have joined this course. These are the content available. These are the, they can see n number of materials are available in the internet, right? So you can learn from them. Just the teacher can assist them, and the students can give feedback. Okay, the role of the faculty would be like, instead of teaching like a one way, once a student knows, they can give some discussion, they can give some assignments, they can form a group, they can make studying interesting. The main objective of the teacher would be like, get the student attracted towards the subject. That would be, once the love for the subject is there, automatically students will learn any of the material, right? Okay, and if you can also think like using your common sense. If you think, if you ask a student doing any course or engineering course throughout the country, they would say before 2 days of the exam would be sufficient to clear on paper. Okay, some students say, what 2 days I study, I get 80% of marks, sir. So it's very clear that the last minute preparation is sufficient to score good in grades. So what is the point of having the monotonous lecture? Okay, without the interest, getting the score, getting good marks is not the way to go forward. And the students can learn at their own pace. That's important, right? And students can prepare for their future. Okay, if you take the traditional classroom, it is the teacher directed. Okay, teacher is the boss in the traditional classroom, and it is always from top down. The teacher stays, student listen, they take notes, that's it. And it's on one size fits all. Simple, right? I teach a content 45 minutes. It's same for the above average student and below average student. So we don't have much differentiation. Maybe a small differentiation may be there, then and there. That's it, right? No big differentiation can be placed. And of course, it's less technological based. And you take the blended learning environment, of course it should be student driven. The student themselves should have the curiosity to learn. The only thing is of the faculty is to what I can say, inculcate that curiosity, that they give the responsibility to the students. Let them start learning from the first day of the lecture itself, first day of the academic year. And only the discussion, other things like solving assignments and difficult problems, doing some projects, those things can be done in the class. and it's a bottom up approach. It is starting from the student side, right, and going up to the faculty. So bottom up approach, and it can be customized based on the students ability. You can customize, the course can be customized, and of course we have more technological technologies involved. And I can say, when the pandemic struck, uh, I felt that the online course is going to be the very difficult way to go. But to be very honest, I can see most of my students are interacting with me by WhatsApp, and they are sending some. They send take a picture. They say this is my doubt, sir. They send a voice message. I know not to write anything. Just I record my voice and it by WhatsApp. That's it. Message is done. Information is conveyed. So it's becoming very fast, right? So that flexibility is there thanks to the technology. And you see, these are some of the blended learning structures in education. The first one is blended face-to-face class. Okay, students are sitting in the class, as well as the blended mode is also there. They have the access to the digital tools. And next is the blended online class. Take the blended online class. The classes would be on online, and maybe 1 or 2 hours we would be meeting them in person. And the flipped classroom, this is one of the essential way of going for. Flipped classroom is a reverse room of classroom. We'll be discussing that in the coming slides. And some model is called rotational model, which is a mixture of the above models. And we can have the blended MOOC courses. You take the AICTE, they say that even the MOOC courses students completing in NPTEL can be considered for the grading. And what are the pedagogies involved in blended learning? We can clearly see, like, the students should be allowed to generate ideas, right? Young minds will come with plenty of ideas. That too, we can form a group among the students and help them to discuss, create an atmosphere where they open their mind with the idea what is the purpose of doing this course. I'm speaking particularly about the higher education, right? The professional courses is going to drive the country. Simple, right? So if they are able to generate the idea in the classroom, who knows that they may be the next big thing in the world. That should be the way to go forward. And brainstorming can happen. The concept mapping and mind mapping, how to learn concepts very easily. What about the birds? I mean, eagle view, or I can say bird's eye view. Any subject if you take, I can surely say that it would have around 80 to 90 concepts only, right? If the faculty is very strong, very expertise in his domain, he or she will clearly say that this subject, you take any subject, it's of only of very finite number, that 50 to 60 concepts are there in the entire subject. Simple. Okay, so what they can do, they can just outside this once, if you are going for this blended mode of learning, there is no bound, right? Bound for learning. Okay, the student, if you just open the YouTube or just Google, we can find so many materials. Only the purpose of the teacher would be like selecting the right material, giving it to the students and following them with their actions, what they are preparing, what sort of questions they can ask in the exam, they will ask what assignments can be given. And just you be a mentor. Just be a mentor doesn't mean that you need not to teach, right? In case of any doubts coming, in spite of watching those content videos or learning the online content, then a discussion can be had, that too, like a friendly discussion, not like a routine classroom. And we can see some creative presentation. Students can given some choice of their topics of their own interest, and they can give their own presentation. This will help them to build their own skills. And definitely this is important, we have to give exposure to the real world. Whatever things studied in the textbook is not going to happen in the real world, right? There is a plenty of difference between the real and ideal and practical world, right? So the students, once they expose to real world, what is happening, what is problem happening in our country, though they will find the solution locally. Okay, most of the technology which is coming here or coming up are in the abroad, or after some years they are taking coming to India, right? So we can see some problems are only available, and we take the pollution, traffic, population, these issues are only in India, right? Okay, maybe, I mean, some of the developed nation won't never hear about these words at all. So these sort of problems can be known when we expose them to real world. Okay, So this would be helping them. Maybe these things should happen in their first and second year of their career education. And maybe some case studies can be given, right? Maybe case studies, we know about the case studies, giving, helping, saying that work on these things, they will come up first. Okay, then cooperative learning strategy. Make the student among the make the student one among the student who is a better learner and another one is a slow learner, and help them to cooperative learning strategy. And this is the important one, flipped classroom. We can see the traditional classroom, we can see lecturer is teaching in the class, after the class student is taking their homework activities. But in flipped classroom, what is happening, the lecture is given already. You can see the student is watching the content in a laptop, right? After that, in classroom activity, what is happening is the discussion is happening. They're sitting in a round table, the students will be discussing what they have learned. So here comes the responsibility. That's the important point you have to remember, right? See, with the responsibility only, he or she will start learning things with interest. Okay, initially maybe the students may find difficult if you give freedom, watch the lecture, watch it, come and sit in the class. Maybe initially 1 or 2 days will be like that, but it will work. It will be working fine. And you can see this is an overview of the flipped classroom. What is happening before the class? We can see the student will be preparing what would be the classroom activity, right? I mean, the teacher has to, a day before, has to say that this is the topic we are going to discuss tomorrow. You come better prepared tomorrow. Give the throw the Put the ball in the court of the student. Let them prepare. Okay, once they prepare, what the student will do, you can see the student practice applying the concepts with feedback. Okay, you are given the topic, the students will be starting discussion, form a group. That's important. That's There comes the teacher, right? You form the right student, mixture of student for different levels of learning ability students, right? Form a group, let them study. Okay, study in their hostels or home somewhere. So many modes are available, no complaints, right? Let them study. Once coming to the classroom, what we have to happen, the students will be checked about their understanding, what they have learned in their discussion. We may give some problems, we may give some assignments, we may give some exercise. One thing I miss these days among the students is the students stop solving the practice problems. The worked out examples they solve, they feel very happy, they feel satisfied. That's such that they know everything in the subject. But it is not so. The book back problems, the practice exercises, they are the real one where they can test their knowledges. Maybe those things they can work out in the classroom along with the faculty guidance. They can solve those things and they can test their understanding. So this is the important one, right? So this is the flipped classroom concept. So in simply saying that, before the class, the student should be said what they have to learn. The student will learn things from the content given by the faculty prior coming to the class. Along with the group or individually, they will study and come. Once they come to the class, they will be tested their understanding. This will reinforce what they have learned, and this will clarify the doubts which they would have thought that they are very comfortable before. Okay, so this will make them to get in love with the subject, right? Okay, this is the flipped classroom 2 comes under blended learning. Yes, see, this is the flipped classroom model, right? It is the We have to utilize the technology and we are going to rearrange the learning experience. Thereby, see, this is important. We are with the students 45 hours every semester. We are with the students, but at the end of the semester, maybe after writing the exam, if you ask something to a student, they forget their basics. What is Ohm's law, they struggle sometimes, okay, which is very hard for a faculty, right? So what is happening, we don't have much face to face time. Most of the time we are looking at the board, we are writing something and we are writing the concepts, we are talking to the class, that's it. Where do you have the face to face time with the students? When is the last time we interacted with each of the students and talked, did you understood this exactly? Each of the students, we don't have much time. The reason is we are just always teaching. We just So in this digital age, we have to shift our roles from a teacher to a facilitator. That is very important, right? Okay, that is the way to go forward. From a teacher, we have to move to a facilitator. We just facilitate. These are the materials you study. In case of any doubts, I will clarify. That's it. Okay, you give some good assignments. Okay, when the student come to the class, let us have the interaction with each of the students. Okay, we would have more face to face time. That's important. That's the biggest point we can derive from the flipped classroom. In the flipped classroom program, the students would be encouraged to access digital learning materials. Okay, there are so many ways, right? People say about cloud-based learning platform. Even a WhatsApp message, WhatsApp PDF file would be sufficient for the student to learn. Okay, and students can be access to the resources like video lectures, podcasts, recordings, articles. Those can be shared with the students. And well, before coming to the class, the students need not to see the one thing. See, the student need not to be master everything before coming to the class, right? Just they can glance it. Just they can go through it. Okay, so before coming into the class, they know something about the subject, right? They won't be, they are not emptily coming and saying, not emptily coming and sitting in the class. They know something, so automatically they will be very active for the next 45 to 50 minutes of the lecture. Simple. Okay, right. And some of the learning management systems, right? See, we have something called Go Skills, Moodle. Most people will be familiar with the Moodle, um, Talent LMS, ThinkFic, and Google Classroom, and some of the open source tools. Now there is no not worry about the money at all. Most of the tools of engineering, any learning tools are available as open source. From multisim live, everything. See, you open your account, whatever the circuit you are going, nothing you are going. See, the good thing about these days is you are need not to install anything. Only in the browser you can run everything. Multisim live, okay, you can simulate any circuit. Just open the browser, okay, log in under your name, you can simulate any circuit. That will be always stored. You can share the circuit, anyone can watch the circuit. You can share the circuit with your faculty. You can work it in your hostel, in your home. You can send it by WhatsApp. So this is a circuit I have worked out, sir, I'm not getting the answer, can you find out what is the problem? A faculty can easily troubleshoot it. Okay, because everything is going to be in online, right? And Colab, Google is offering this Colab, um, where Python codes can be run, right? Here again, there is nothing to install in your laptop or computer. Everything is going to be in the browser, which is run in their Google server. Okay, so the computing is going to be very inexpensive. Only connection you require is your internet connectivity is there, and everything is going to be free of cost, right? Important thing about your interest, you have an interest, everything is free. Then we have some code blocks, Skylab, OpenCV, Jupyter, YARP, the robotics programming. And many more are there. Depending on the thing is, depending on your department, this can be chosen. And the next thing about the MOOC courses, right? This is MOOC, massive open online courses, right? It was conceived maybe 10, 12 years back. Now this is during pandemic, you can see this NPTEL, EDX, Coursera, Khan Academy. There are plenty of recorded lectures. They give interactive assignments. Okay, this open online, massive open online course, think about it, lakhs of students are taking this course. A quality content, that's very important, right? It's not like just like any other course. These courses are well defined and well refined courses, right? Covering entire engineering domain. Okay, and they offer certification. Once you pass the course, they give some certificates, providing, encouraging you the marks what you have scored. And these assignments are really would be really challenging for the students, and it will give the competitive spirit, right? That's important, right? As a young learner, there should be some sort of competition. They should not feel dull. Whatever they learn, they should have motivation. If you do such courses, you will know you are competing with the India level or world level. EDX, Coursera, these are international MOOC courses offering platforms. This NPTEL is an Indian platform. So this offers the students will clearly see that I am listening to a lecture from an IIT Bombay professor. So this is what they are teaching. I know this content. They will know I am going to compete with an level of IITs. These are the opportunities available. And what about the evolution strategies? See, apart from the conventional writing exams, we can go for something called open book exam. This is very familiar, right? You can see giving a open book exam, give some questions, like a project question or open-ended question. Give some 12 hours, 24 hours. Let them find the answer. Okay, open-ended exam straight from the book is of no point in conducting an exam, right? Give a really a challenging question, let them browse, let them download the book, let them watch some videos, let them find the answer, let them work in a group. That also gives makes sense, right? Students working in a group, you see, you take any, go to any job, definitely more, all the jobs would be like a teamwork. No, none of the job would be like an individual job. Okay, so this should be inculcated from the student, I mean student life period itself, right? Student age itself. So you can give some group examinations. Then something I can see few of the universities, particularly in Italy, they are conducting this speaking examination. They conduct for each student 2 hours. They're having some discussion. You cannot even copy, or you have to answer everything like the staff will be giving the question, and you have to say what they understood, what is the answer, and everything will be recorded. Okay, and something like on-demand examination. Okay, see what is the ultimate aim. At the end of 4 years, you have to score 180 credits to get a degree. Okay, and it's up to the student, right? If they feel that they no want to take 6 courses, they can take 4 courses particular semester. Okay, and there is some flexibility is offered nowadays. That's a good thing. The 8th semester, when the students are going for a project, they can study their theory paper ahead in the previous semester, before semester itself. Thereby, they can allocate that entire semester only for their project. They can go for internship. These things are coming up. Okay, that's a good sign. And of course, we'll be finishing off with the benefits of blended learning, right? The important benefit I want to stress here is the student is permitted and they become active learners. That is very important, right? They are not just learners, they are active because they are responsible for what they learn. They're given full freedom. This is the content you want to learn. You learn at your own pace. Come to the classroom. You just interact with the faculty, face to face interaction. Okay, that it's like I'm consulting a doctor, right? Think about it. You have some sickness, you go to a doctor, you sit for 5 minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. You will feel, once you see a doctor itself, most of our health problem you will feel okay, right? Think of a faculty. If a student is talking to a faculty for 40 minutes for a subject, think that would be sufficient for him to understand what is the need to study that subject. He will definitely get fall in love with the subject. Okay, and they will have some control over their learning, right? And this is important, they will be self-reliant. Think about it. I said before, most of the students, if you ask doing their course, any professional course or any course, higher education course, you can say they will say I will get 60-70% of the mark by just studying 2 days. Okay, if they can score such mark in 2 days, think about their capability. What will happen if you can extract workout of them for 365 days throughout a year? If you're able to extract workout of them, that would be great, right? So in this mode of teaching and learning, that's a blended mode, the student will be self-reliant because they themselves know what they are learning ahead, what they're going to learn in the class. They know something before coming into the class. Instead of coming empty, they know something. So things will be continuing in the class smoothly. And you can see that as more students are working independently, the time opens up for the teacher face to face support. That is important, right? And individualized instructions are frequently will happen to the students. Okay, and of course this will offer a complete picture. Once you have a face to face learning, you will know really where the students are struggling. Okay, some students will be struggling in the mathematical part, derivation part. Some, we can understand what is their struggle, right? And of course it offers, it's a personal and frequent and more personal teacher interaction with individual students is there. And the last thing, there would be a great trust in the teacher, right? Because the students, once they start interaction, simple every day, 10 to 15 minutes. Even the convent, if you feel blended mode of learning is very difficult to implement in your campus, don't worry, just 15 minutes, right? Stop the lecture, don't talk anything outside the lecture, that's not necessary, right? You just get down off your dais, right? Get into the student, talk casually about the subject. What you thought today? Go to two desk. You can see the bright minds will be seeing you like an hero, right? They want to learn something from you. Okay, they will be, they, up to 6 students you can take easily, two rows of a class bench, you can talk to them and you can say this is what you learn, this is what. Then go to the next day, go to separate other two benches, right? So this will create a good rapport between the teacher and student. And definitely I am sure that I have experienced myself that the student will like the subject much better. And people say that you are teaching well. That's not actually the fact, right? Only thing is you have to give the taste of the subject to them. Once they get the taste of that subject, then they will be addicted to that. Simple. It's simple as that, right? And another thing, see, we can see the personal struggles. That's very important. See, if you take a diverse country like India, we can see all students from all domain, all levels of life get into higher education. Okay, simply standing in the dais won't help, right? If we get to the student, get into the rows and benches of students, we will clearly see their struggles they are experiencing. Okay, once we know the struggle, it automatically, as a teacher, it will help you to improve. You will improvise. What is the way? How can, in what way I can teach such that even this student can understand my class? Okay, that is important. Most of the time, what is happening is we never feel the personal struggle, the personal side of the student, right? Okay, that is important, right? And yes, we have to comfort and coach student, right? See, they are here to study, right? We should be the what I can say, torch bearers for them, and we have to take them through the challenges and help them to come out successfully. That's important. I'm particularly sure about this blended learning will definitely the way forward and helping the students. That's it I wanted to share today. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manibharathi, for sharing such an amazing and interesting session, telling us about ins and outs of scope of blended learning in higher education. Like we have seen a blended learning happening in schools, and these children are easy to handle, and they follow you. Whatever you tell them, they follow you. But in higher education, they know to use their skills. They have knowledge of the outside world, and they at times think that, like, if the teacher is not teaching in the college, what are we paying for? So it is really very difficult to handle them, and you explained very well how things can be done, and how the blended learning can happen. How can it happen in online thing? How can it happen in online one to one, or a group, or in a flipped classroom? Very nicely explained, sir. So uh, I would like to request my audience, if they have any question, please post your questions. I already have a question from Miss Farheen Mahmood. I'm highlighting it. You already explained these things in your
Yeah, yeah.
PPT, although.
Okay. How the quality of education will improve by utilizing blended learning in higher education? Does the blended enhance students' higher education? What are the objectives of blended learning in higher education? Yes. See,
Yeah, already.
yes, this blended learning. See, the blended learning. The term was there. I mean, for the last few years was there, right? But I feel that once the corona pandemic has struck, people went for online. Now coming back from the online, so this would be the right time. Okay, if you take completely, see what has happened before online, we have don't control, we don't have any control over the student, right? They're sitting at their home, and we are not sure about what they are learning. But once they come into the classroom, still online, technology oriented, and face to face, all three should be integrated, and this will definitely improve the, I mean, as I said that if you can throw some challenging problems. See, the basic contents are there all over the world, right? They can learn from the textbook, or they can learn from any WhatsApp video, I mean, any YouTube video like that. Only thing is, what about the, I mean, real time problems? Real time problems can be solved. We can have a discussion. Okay, I just one day I was discussing with my students such that, what is the real time problem you are facing in your life, right? I was astonished to say that one of my girl students said that, sir, the bus I was coming is very crowded, sir. It's a real time problem. Okay, so where is the solution? We have to find the solution. And I also found that, and one girl said that, sir, the step was very height, I cannot get into the bus. It's a real time problem. The solution may be very simple. We can have a door which that, when the door is opening, we can see the step coming or near the floor. This simple example. And one of my students said that he lost one of a relative due to some current shock. And he was very particular that I want to do a project in the domain, sir. I want to find that if I can see some electric current leakage is happening, I have to find a project. So these sort of interactions in the early stage of their higher education would help them to be more focused on their studies. So there comes the face to face part, right? The face to face part is very essential, but not for teaching. It's for interaction and helping them to learn. That's it.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering this question. And I hope you help Ms. Farheen Mahmood and also other viewers who are viewing you or who will view you as and when they come and see your video on Facebook and YouTube. And you can type your questions, my dear audience, if you have any in the comment box. And sir can answer it as and when he gets time and he can come to Facebook and YouTube and he will surely answer your questions. So, by this time, we come to an end of our session. Would you like to say anything else, sir?
Um, oh, ma'am. Actually, only one thing. No, if some of the teachers were listening, definitely we have more responsibility. Okay, that's the only line I want to say. It's more responsibility than other profession. So, but I want to thank this Global Education and Training Institute and yourself, Dr. Zainab Maulani, ma'am, for giving this wonderful opportunity. And it's really nice to interact with the diverse audience and share my point of view. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, my dear audience, and thank you, Manibharathi, sir, once again for being immense, like impressive speaker and captivating. I was all through noting down the things that you said, and they were like really helpful. So, I hope to see you again, sir, and have a lovely evening ahead.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.